And so the Apostle Paul was not the first to bring dissension. He was simply the first to come out with his glorious plan of salvation based on what he just said in Romans 15 for himself, the truth of God. The truth of God. And that's something to argue about. We cannot. I had an interesting letter, and I'm sure the old boy won't mind my referring to it. He's a listener down in Houston, and he writes a note almost every month. Well, the last letter he wrote, he was visiting his son out in Oregon. And his son just insisted that he go along to church with him. And he said, son, he said, I'm afraid that I'll hear things I can't disagree with, but he says, okay. He says, I'll go. So he said, I went to the Sunday school class with him, and he said, Les, the first thing that Sunday school teacher said was that the blood of Jesus wasn't divine. It was just as corrupt as any other human being. Now, he says, I'm a visitor there, and he says, I tried to keep my mouth shut, but he says, how could I? So he said, I corrected him. Well, he said, that set the whole class on the edge of their chair, and the more that teacher said, the more they turned to him and said, well, now, how about it? And he told them like it was. So he said, the whole hour, he said, I almost became the teacher of that Sunday school class. And he said, I was just having a ball. So he said, on the way home from church, I told my son, son, I'm sure glad you invited me to church. He said, I had a good time today. You know what the son said? Yeah, Dad, I could tell. Well, now, you know, it's letters like that that make our day. But see, this is what you have to do. You can't just sit there and let some Sunday school teacher roll out a bunch of rot that is as false as a $3 bill. Sit up and say, now, wait a minute. That's not what the book says. That's not true. That's not right. Now, you don't have to be nasty. You can be kind, but disagree. Stand for what the book says, see? Okay, now let's move on.